You're watching E.T.N. Share and subscribe.
I need more blood. Blood steel.
Hey guys, welcome to Entertainment Talk Nation. This is Rob. This video, we're going to do our review for BloodStained Ritual of the Night. Yes, a video game that this was recently released, and I gotta say, this is a solid game. In fact, it's more than solid, it's excellent. If you are a Castlevania fan, this game is right up your alley, but also if you're an RPG fan, this game is right up your alley as well. Now, Ritual of the Night was created by Artplay and also created by Koji Igarashio. Now, if you guys don't know who that is, although I'm sure plenty of you do, he is the one that created a lot of the later Castlevania games, and of course the most popular Symphony of the Night, which this game is a spiritual successor to. Now, it's a side-scrolling 3D game, and basically you play a character named Miriam who's got like this infection of some sort where she gets like crystallized shards embedded in her body, and you basically take off from there, and it is quite the adventure. Now, I recently beat the game, didn't get the greatest ending in the world. In fact, I beat the game by accident. I kind of stumbled into the boss's room. I knew who the character was that I was fighting. I didn't think he'd be the primary boss. And I beat him, and then next thing you know, the game's over. So obviously I didn't get a great ending. But let's talk about the game in and of itself. How it performs, the look, the feel, the ambiance, the thematics. First thing I will say is that the music in this game is quite phenomenal. And that's one of the things I always look at when I play a game, is just how good the music is, because it can really get you into the game. I've been a big fan of Final Fantasy, and one thing I've always loved about the Final Fantasy games, for the most part, has been the music. This game's music is fantastic. Now, the mechanics of the game are also very solid. You level just like you would any other character in an RPG. Now, you don't necessarily get to choose your stats, but you get to choose your shards. And basically, you have 5 categories, and your shards are collected from different bosses and monsters throughout the game. Some of them are more rare in drops, and some of them are a little bit more common, and you can either sell them or you can upgrade them. And sometimes you kind of have to sell. I mean, money's tight in this game, things are pretty expensive, and your only source of really any sustenance when you're playing the game is either potions or food. So, and food can get pretty expensive, and potions, well, the regular potions are not all that solid. The higher potions run a lot better, but unfortunately they're pretty expensive as well. Now, in terms of the gameplay, it is very fluid. I play on the PC. The game's also available for PS4. And my controller for the PC is not the greatest controller in the world. And I can tell you, the game is so fluid that I didn't even feel like I was playing on a mediocre controller. It reacted to my button pushes, and I was able to do the things I needed to do without any problem. When I play computer games, I don't often play with a controller. I usually play with a mouse and keyboard, but this game does not call for that. You need to play with a controller. Now, the game is also very challenging in many different ways. And if you're an old school Castlevania player, or even Metroid, because it actually has some very Metroid-like mechanics as well. For example, you know, if you play Metroid, you go around the map and you pick up different items from either bosses or items that you find, and then those items that you find will help you access other areas in the game that you couldn't access before. This actually uses that very same approach. And I know some people may be not like this so much because you have to do a lot of backtracking, but I got to be honest with you, while that is definitely a fair argument, this game I didn't feel that way, because as you're backtracking, the enemies you're killing are dropping loot that you need. A lot of weapons, and some of the best weapons, can be crafted. And again, your sustenance in this game is going to be food, crafting recipes. And when you're out there and you're getting certain drops from certain mobs that you need to make the better food that gives you more life, backtracking is not such a bad thing. In fact, there's some areas that you might even want to go as far as farming. Now, I haven't gotten too deep into the game, because there's a lot of content here, and it shows. I mean, there's certain shards I know I haven't gotten yet. There's certain recipes I know I haven't accessed yet. And I know that right now I'm like 60% through the map. And there's ways you can upgrade your shards that even further give you an opportunity to reach other levels of the map. For example, later on in the game, you get a double jump. Well, later you'll find out that double jump is not good enough. You're going to need a high jump upgrade with that double jump. So really deep content, has a lot of replay value as well, because chances are when you beat the game the first time around, you're not going to unlock everything. Now, Artplay has also promised a lot of free DLC for this game going forward, and that's great. I'm hoping they stick to that. I'm hoping there's no change of plans. Right now there is one DLC that they have released, and it's $9.99. It was released to the public. It was originally a backer perk. Like if you backed the game 4 years ago when it was developed, you got this DLC, but they decided to release it to the public. However, to be fair to those who backed the game originally, they're charging it at $9.99. So that is supposed to be the only DLC in the game that will basically, that you have to pay for. Everything that's supposed to be coming is free. Now, graphically, the game is beautiful. It is such a beautiful game. And I'm not really one to harp on graphics. I'm all about gameplay. And when you get a game that delivers on the music, the gameplay, and the graphics, and has very solid mechanics as well, you got yourself a gem. And just to let you guys know now, as of this recording, you have 4 days to pick this game up on Steam, or maybe on PS4, I'm not sure. But I know on Steam right now it's going for $35.99. That's 10% discount on the 28th, or shortly thereafter it's going to go back up to $39.99. Now, in terms of the story, I gotta be honest, I'm still lots to learn about the story. There is a lot of lore there. There's a lot of lore. Every time, for example, you go back to your safe spot and you go either to the alchemy table or you go to the store, the patrons, or rather the people running the shops, will talk to you. And every time, it's almost like, it's pretty much every time you go, they have something new to say that's just lore related. Now, because I was enjoying the game so much, yes, there were times that I skipped through this because I just really wanted to get back into the fray. And as you go throughout the castle, you also pick up certain books and certain things to add to your journal. The other good thing about this game in terms of the challenge is that there's no hand-holding here, which is another thing I love. It's very reminiscent of those old games, and also games like Dark Souls or the Soul series. In fact, one of the things I love about this is that it reminded me of Demon Souls when Demon Souls first came out. When that game first came out, there was no literature out there that could help you. You were on your own. Even when the Dark Souls games started coming out, they started having player's guides for them. This game is the same. There's hardly any literature out there that you can rely on or look up that's going to help you. You have to figure it out. Now, this can be a little bit confusing because sometimes you're going to run into items that you don't know what they're used for, and you're caught running around. In fact, when I get to the end of this video, which will be shortly, I'm going to give one of those away as a big spoiler. I'll warn you, because I really do think it's one part of the game that's going to be frustrating for many players, and it's even more frustrating when you figure out how simple the solution is. But overall, the game is solid gameplay. I mean, running around, you have so many different weapons you can choose from. And if you're a Castlevania fanatic, there are whips in this game. But you also get swords, great swords, daggers. You even get shield weapons. Weapons, basically a shield that also has some attack on it, some sort of special feature. The other good thing too is that while the combat initially you might think is very vanilla, certain weapons have different moves. For example, I remember I had this umbrella that was ranked as a sword, and if I did a fireball motion, it basically did this big, like, spell of some sort. Like the umbrella opened up and this big wave came out. So the only thing is you have to kind of find the journals that are spread out across the map to get the moves. And then the move that you're getting, they only work for certain weapons. So you really kind of have to pay attention to what it is, what the weapon is that you have, and what the moveset is that you want to do. Now, the good thing to that is when you do find these journals throughout the map, they get recorded, so you can always reference them. There are many items and different weapons in the game that have certain effects, elemental effects, and you also have guns. And I want to tell you right now, don't ignore guns, especially in the early game. You see a gun, it may say like it has 4 attack compared to your greatsword that has 30, but take into consideration the kind of ammo you equip, and also take into consideration that some of those ammos are either armor piercing or elemental. All in all, it is a fabulous game, and I really cannot wait to dig more into it. And I'm going to be doing more videos on it. I have a couple of tip videos I want to give to some early gamers. And with that said, segueing into the final portion of this video, there's going to get a point to a game where you're going to fight a boss. It's in a place called the Twin Dragon Towers. And when you defeat this boss, you might get stuck. So, and here comes the spoiler. So if you don't want to hear it, this is probably a good time to click out the video, because I'm going to exit right after this. What's going to happen is you're going to get stuck. You're not going to know where to go. You're going to get an item. I won't say the item name because you're forced to pick it up anyway. I can't remember exactly, but it's going to be an item that the store shopkeeper is going to need to take your photograph. And this item, the photograph, you're supposed to take that to a vampire in a library back where the Twin Dragon Towers were. I believe it's in the upper left-hand portion of the Twin Dragon Towers map. I believe it's underneath the teleport room. Excuse me. I don't exactly remember what the room is called, but it's a teleport room nonetheless. This person's going to give you credentials along with your picture, basically give you an ID with your picture on it. This allows you to get on a train at the very lower level of that part of the dungeon. And all you have to do is take the elevator all the way down to the last stop. The reason I share this is because many people, including myself, got stuck right after fighting this boss and had no idea what to do. And it's the only time in the game so far that I've had to actually hunt down the information regarding this part. So remember, when you get that item after fighting the boss, take it back to the storekeeper and then find a vampire that runs the library, which is a very cool library. You can actually rent out, or it's like a library. You take out a book. You get to decide which book it is, but each book you can only take one, and each one of them have an effect on your stats. I decided to take the one that increases luck because drops in this game are very important. So if you can get your luck up without compromising your fighting and your stats, I highly recommend it. But anyway, that was the tip I wanted to give, because believe me, it is a very frustrating part of the game that's not as obvious as I think it needs to be. Hopefully that's something that they will fix. And there is one bug in the game that I think many people are probably very frustrated with that I hope they fix soon. But there will be times where you'll kill an animal or you kill a mob and they'll drop loot, but you can't pick it up. And it's a bug in the game. I think it's a fairly common bug, and hopefully they fix it soon. But outside of that, BloodStained is a fantastic game, completely worth the money, and beautiful sound, beautiful music, beautiful scenery, beautiful thematics, and it's just an incredible game, and I'm very happy that I purchased it. If you haven't gotten it yet, I highly recommend it, and if you are playing it, let me know in the comments what you think. I hope you enjoy this review. Until next time, this is Rob signing off for E.T.N, where we don't do news, we just talk entertainment. Take it easy.
Thank you for watching E.T.N. Click here to watch more content. Don't forget to leave a comment. Also, make sure you like and share this video. If you want to know when the next video is up, click the notification bell next to the subscribe button. And most of all, make sure to click that subscribe button for regular content.